Welcome to A Bit of Board Games, a casual podcast documenting the many failures and hopefully successes of Waffle Games, as we learn the ins and outs of board game design and self-publishing. Join us on this journey as we talk about a bit of life, a bit of design, and a bit of board games. Welcome back to another episode of A Bit of Board Games. This is episode 60. That is 6 times 10 for you math folks out there. Today is June 14th, 2023, and we're here. We're podcasting. I'm Steven, game designer and artist, and with us today is Ralph, art director, artist, soon to be game designer, and special guest, Trevor.
Hey guys.
Back from the dead once again, which he was technically here for podcast last week.
It was.
I just wasn't having it, so I just ruined all the audio, corrupted it.
You were so excited I was back that you forgot to record it.
No, I recorded it. It's just OBS, Open Broadcast Software. It updated something, and so it when I went back in afterwards when I realized we had an issue, it was like, oh, you need to relink your audio devices. I'm like, are you kidding me? And so I just didn't look closely at the levels to see if it was recording at the time. And then
Steven didn't take my advice. I told him we should just do voiceover of the whole video because
dub it. We each do someone else's voice.
I'll do Steven, you do Ralph. Ralph does me.
Oh man. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I think it'd be like a bad lip reading type thing, but not as funny. So
it would. Those are pretty good.
It would have been better than the terrible redo that we had, which I think in Trevor's exact words was crap, but still kind of funny, I guess. I think that's what Trevor ended up saying.
Yeah.
Is good. I'm happy to be back. It's been a while, and I appreciate the time you guys let me have. It's exciting to have Ralph as part of the team now since I've been away. Obviously, we've been communicating outside the podcast, but I'm excited to get to know Ralph more. Knew a little bit about him, and we had communicated in the past, but it's exciting to have him officially on. And all of you who are watching or listening have gotten to know Ralph over the past few weeks.
You guys know Ralph better than Trevor does, probably. So
it's true. Yeah. I'm catching up quickly though. So,
Trevor, how was your month-long cruise?
It was incredible. Got stranded, got picked up by aliens, got dropped back off in the middle of the desert, became a cowboy for a while, got a horse, the horse died, and then I walked back to a city, called my mom picked me up, and got back to Colorado Springs. So, I mean, it ended up being a little bit longer than I expected, but I grew through that experience. So
yeah, not much of a cruise there, I guess then. So
well,
didn't get to enjoy it very long.
Started as a cruise, and
No, how have you been? Why don't you give the listeners and viewers a little update on T-Dog, Trevor, Trayvon.
Yeah. So, I mean, part of the reason I was gone so long is because my life has just been crazy. I've been doing a lot of stuff with work. We had kind of a big, I guess it was about a month, honestly, chunk of time where our company was focused on kind of next year cycle, and we were working through a lot of kind of sales things and improvements for next year. I'm part of a tech company, and so and we work with schools, and so in order to make that happen, obviously schools start in August, and so we got to make sure that we're tackling things way ahead of time so that we have the summer to adjust and fix things as needed. And so that's been kind of a big process and project that we've been working on. And so I've been grateful to have that time to work on that. And then also I've been working on a lot of personal projects. I know these guys talked about, I built a play set for my daughter. That was a lot of fun, but that's just part of it. I mean, I've been doing a lot of kind of self-improvement sort of things in regards to, I've really been wanting to pursue more of a tech related field in some ways. Not that I'm wanting to switch jobs necessarily, but I'm looking at just kind of expanding my skill set in regards to, I'm learning kind of new software languages. I'm learning new methodologies and things like that. I'm kind of doing self-taught and self-guided sort of classes and things on the side as well. And so just kind of all that combined, I've been super busy and just needed kind of a mental break, because even though this is something that I really enjoy and something that I'm glad to be back at and doing again with these guys, is we've been doing it for over a year. I mean, it's crazy to think, but we've been doing it for a long time. And so to just have that time to just kind of not have to worry or think about it at all has been great. But coming back, and I mean, I was back last week, you'd never know, but we talked about how Steven and Ralph have been doing a lot with the art, which has been great. Hopefully you guys have kind of seen some of the things they've been doing. They've been tweaking a lot of kind of the style and that sort of thing. And it's been exciting. And then also one of the things that I was really focused on before I left was making sure that we could kind of get this rule book finalized. And I left, and Steven kind of took charge of that. And I reviewed it this past week, and I'm pretty amazing. Great. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff in here. Steven did a great job of. Steven's kind of like the story guy. Like I always jump into something he's created, and I feel like I'm part of the world. Like I feel excited about our game because he's very good at incorporating all of the why are these weapons the way they are? Why are these functions of the game the way they are? It's because they tie into this story and this world in a certain way. He's always good at, I'm not very good at tying all that together. I kind of have like a more like a functional sort of mindset on how things should operate, but he's always very big picture on this is the world. Like maybe it doesn't make sense for it to be goblins. Maybe it makes more sense to, have it be this or this. So anyway, I've been talking a lot. I'm excited to be back, and I'm very excited with kind of the direction we're going. And we have some exciting news on some new things we're doing and some other things that we'll be
we'll get there.
Kind of hitting month to month. I'm just teasing it a little bit. Sorry.
Stay tuned later in this episode. After our sponsor.
The return
ad breaks.
Yes. And we'll see you after this next ad break. No, but we've been talking a lot and want to kind of just continue to grow in different ways and continue to build off of what we had. So excited to be back.
Yeah. I did post yesterday like the 4 items that I redid in the new style. So I posted those on the grams. They are there. Yeah. And Ralph also likes the lore and world building story type stuff. So he will be a great asset to the team to contribute to that side of things too. Because Trevor's like, I don't know, what if it was a rock?
Remind me, why is it this way? Yeah. No, it's good. I mean, we've been saying this since day one, but we balance each other really well in that regard.
Yeah. Ralph, so 2 questions. How are you? And also, what are your thoughts on Trevor? Like, do you like him? Is he, kind of stupid? Hold nothing back.
I can take it.
Loaded questions. I am doing better with every day that I get closer to the end of this week, because if the listeners remember, the 16th, which is Friday, is when I have to. Yeah, is when I have to deliver my big nightmare project. So I'm working pretty much all the time to just get that done and delivered for now. But I see the light at the end of the tunnel. So
and then he's all ours.
Yeah, I'm doing great. And then after that is done, I'm going to celebrate. And then I'll be freed up to do some stuff that I actually care about. So
and second question.
Yeah, my take on Trevor. No, I like Trevor a lot. It's been great to get to know him. It's nice because he is actually this podcast in general is good for me in many ways, because Steven and Trevor are both very positive people who are upbeat and enjoyable to be with. And I tend to lean negative, but being around them helps me to keep my spirits up and keep optimistic about things. So
I'm positive on here, but I'm like cynically positive.
Oh yeah,
I'm a very cynical person about a lot of things.
Yeah.
So
more and more, honestly.
Do you think Trevor is the most positive of the 3 of us?
No.
Well,
Of the three
Who
of
is?
us,
Yeah.
we're none of us.
We're all.
It's all
negative.
it's all a facade. It's a front.
There's no happiness here.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. Either way, Ralph. I strive.
Well, it sounds
to be a
like Steven
positive
doesn't
person.
believe it, but I truly believe that you are a nice, positive person.
Yeah, I know
Thank
Trevor
you.
like in real life, so he's just kind of a jerk, you know.
True. We get off this podcast and I just throw just mean words at these guys.
Oh,
nonstop.
you should actually. Now that I remember, you should have seen. You guys should have seen what happened when Steven, when we realized what Steven, the big mistake he made, not recording the audio.
Okay.
Yes.
Trevor really laid into him. It
He
was
let me
an
have it.
ugly scene, to be sure.
Yeah.
I did apologize. To be fair.
Yeah. That was after, you know. Never mind, I was gonna make up something ridiculous.
After your family was torn apart, and
well, I was gonna go more like after I
car.
lost a hand, but different approaches, I guess. But in other news, I got something in the mail today.
Oh, I'm excited to hear this.
Okay, so I backed a game on Kickstarter. Year and a half.
You
ago?
back a million games though, so when you say this,
I haven't backed a game in like since this one. Like
I don't know.
A year and a half, 2 years ago.
Steven teased this to us before the podcast. He said, you're going to have to wait and see what game just came in the mail. And I'm sitting here going, which game is it? Because I know he's backed like
which game?
30 games. It feels like.
Which game do you think it is?
Is it The Witcher?
It is The Witcher.
See, I didn't back that one.
Yeah, dude, Witcher, the old world.
Wow.
It was like, so I backed like Frosthaven and The Witcher.
Okay. Do you have it?
He's gotten his money's worth for sure, having opened it.
So you have it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here is the main box, the main game.
Nice.
Hold on, it's shining in the light. We got to see.
I see. Yeah. It looks. Yeah.
Oh, right, that angle. That's a good angle.
There you go.
Nice.
Way.
So that's the core game. Then there's all the Kickstarter exclusive stuff that came with it.
What is it? What's the stuff that? What is it?
Some of it's like minis.
Oh.
Some of it's like extra, like small expansions that just like were included in the core box of the Kickstarter. If you backed it, then
nice.
And another expansion that I backed for it as well.
Gosh.
So what is it? What's this game? Is it an RPG sort of?
Oh, a man on a horse.
A man on a horse.
That's what we're here for. Here for men on horses. That is the mounted Eridan boss that also came with it for backing on Kickstarter. Another exclusive. Okay, so the game is about in the lore of The Witcher. So this takes place way before the show and the books and all that too. So it's talking.
One second, we need to remember that not everybody watches these. So what Steven just held up is essentially four massive boxes, all separate from one another, that all came with this Kickstarter, package that he bought.
You're right.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Sorry, listeners. The first one is kind of a standard size, but a little bit bigger than a standard like full board game box. It's a little bit heavier and bigger. The second box with all the Kickstarter exclusives is like a full size of like equivalent to like Betrayal at House on the Hill, like a Kickstarter exclusive box. And then the third box, which is a specific expansion that I added on, that's like Pandemic size, maybe a little bigger for that. And then I held up this really detailed mini of a guy on a horse who's like I think a boss in the game or something, which came with his own little pack of cards and stuff too. So that's cool. Like another add-on for Kickstarter. So the actual game. So if you're not familiar with The Witcher, it's originally a book series by a Polish author, which I don't know how to pronounce his name, and I don't remember his name. And they're older books. I think they're from like the 70s or 80s. But then it became a popular video game franchise, and then more recently a popular Netflix TV series on Netflix.
Before Henry Cavill left. So.
Well, he'll still be in the
Now
season
it's
that's
just
coming
fun.
out. So season 3,
Yeah.
I don't know when it comes out this year, I think. But
Yeah.
so he'll still be in that one. Anyway, I'm not gonna get on that subject. So The Witcher, if you're not familiar, you can look it up. I don't want to explain the whole world of The Witcher, but there's magic. There's schools of magic, and there's crazy, scary monster creatures that the Witchers like hunt. So the main game here, The Witcher, Old World, is the title. Has a large map and like different places to explore. You choose a Witcher from one of the 4, I think it's 4 schools, or 5, maybe it's 5. There's like 4 or 5 like Witcher schools that all kind of like are in different regions and kind of like are known for certain aspects or different things, and they have their own like logo, like the lion, the wolf. I don't know if the lion's one of them.
Right.
Anyway, so you choose one of the schools, and each person represents one of the schools, and essentially you're going around the map trying to become a legend. So you're like fighting monsters, trying to get trophies and do different things to bring prestige to your Witcher school, sort of kind of thing. Yeah, so it's kind of you're each playing on your own, doing different stuff, and I'm excited. I probably won't ever play it just because that's the last 5 games that I got, I have barely opened and haven't played.
I'll be honest. I mean, it's a sign of a nerd when, quite honestly, I look at that game with the plastic, still on it, and I go, man, that's probably more fun looking at it than actually playing the game. It's like the idea of what's in the box, you don't know, but just like the excitement of what could be is almost more exciting than what actually is.
Taking the plastic.
Oh no, it's the unboxing right now, live.
I'll just take something out. Just look at it.
Steven's basically just an investor.
Yeah,
That's what it sounds like. Yeah,
investing games and never.
It's no longer sealed package, brand new, sealed, whatever.
Hey Steven, have you heard of a company named Waffle Games? We could use some funding if you're looking for somewhere to invest.
Want to back our game?
All my investments are in board games.
Okay.
Ooh, Matt.
The board.
Oh, Matt. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's a 3x2.
Nice, pretty big.
I can't hold it up.
Holy cow, that's really cool. It's like man, what does that look like?
Like a map. Sanctum?
No. What's the? It's like a steampunk. I played it recently. It's popular. You have like
Heart?
mechs. What?
Atomic Heart?
No. It's a board game.
Wow,
it's
sorry.
like you have like mechs in a like a steampunk world. It's like post-apocalyptic. Scythe, right?
Yeah,
Scythe. That kind of looks like the Scythe board game for people that aren't watching.
The board a little bit has some elements that resemble that. That's a good game. Scythe is great.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know there's a sequel to that game coming out?
I did. I knew that. Yeah.
It's a different style.
I'm sure you're backing it. So.
No, I haven't backed a game in a long time. Okay, so.
Also, Atomic Heart isn't really steampunk. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Atomic Heart's cool though. I've never played it, but I've watched some of it. And
is it actually out?
Yeah,
it is. It's on Game Pass. You can play it for free.
I thought it was
not very good.
I thought it was one of those games that was just like announced and then like I never heard anything else about it.
Well,
So.
it got it was announced forever ago, and then it got stuck in development forever, and then just suddenly it was out. It's like that game Scorn, same thing. Like it was.
I don't even know that one.
It was forever ago announced, and then just randomly drops, and you're like,
Atomic Heart, isn't that? I just want to make sure I'm thinking of the right game. It's the one. It's basically like you're killing monsters around the world, right?
No, it's got like robots and like first person shooter.
Yeah, you fight robots. It's like robots gone bad, gone rogue, and there's those 2 twin robots that everyone thirsts over online.
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
okay. I was thinking of the wrong game then.
It looks
I
really
have seen
cool.
this one too. It looks cool.
Yeah, I remember like when it was originally announced, I was just like, dang, it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be like the next BioShock.
It did look good. Back the thing is it waited too long to release. Back when it was announced, that concept looked super fresh and new and interesting, but by now other developers have done things like that already, so it kind of lost its wow factor over time. Right. So I don't know. It's just kind of mediocre now.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Yeah, that happens a lot. I mean, like we talked about with Gollum and stuff too. That's one thing. We don't want to have our board games flop because then they don't exist, and it doesn't work the same as video game development. Did you guys watch any of the Summer Game Fest or Ubisoft Forward or the Xbox Game Showcase?
Xbox Game Showcase is the main one I watched.
Yeah,
personally.
I tuned into those.
Dude,
definitely.
Starfield. Guys?
Yeah, everyone's freaking out about that game. I don't know if I'm on board, man.
What?
Here's the thing. I'll let you take it away because I'm sure that you're super excited. I don't want to kill the hype, but here's the thing with games like that.
Yeah.
I feel like over the past probably 5 to 10 years, this has happened multiple times where someone comes out and they go, "This is just the craziest open sandbox where you can do whatever you want, and you can fly ships. You can custom make your own bases. You can do like the fighting and the combat's super clean and whatever. And then
it feels
you go
empty.
in and play these games, and like one aspect of it is super cool, but the rest just flops. And so it's just for this game to be what they're promising and what it looks like, they're just gonna have to really perfect every element of it. Or I've seen this happen too many times where a game gets hyped so much because it looks like the new coolest thing, and then it just takes a nosedive. Like I compare it to what was that?
Cyberpunk comes to mind.
Cyberpunk. Okay, yeah, that's a great example. I'm thinking of like an MMO recently that
Ashes of Creation.
It was like no, Ashes hasn't come out yet, but I'm talking about it was like a pirate one.
New World?
No.
No.
No, I'll find it because it was huge. You'll remember the name, but it's dead now. That's why you can't think of it.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But they promised like open sea, incredible combat, MMO, like massive MMO sort of world and RPG elements. I'm gonna find it. But anyway, explain why you're excited, Steven, because there is reason to be excited for sure.
No, I'm gonna sit here while you research this.
I have thoughts about Starfield as well.
Yeah, I know you do.
Okay. Yeah, even already
we've had this conversation. Here's the thing. Bethesda has a track record of great games, but also some more recent, not as good of games and or experiences coming out. But think of like Elder Scrolls, Oblivion, and Skyrim. Both amazing games. Skyrim, huge world. That game is one of the most sold games ever because they made 1 million versions of it on every platform, every console. The 10-year anniversary edition, the HD remake. Like, there's so many different things. So, and like people keep buying it. Granted, that game is a smaller scope. I think I saw something like the amount of, it's like Starfield is way bigger in a lot of ways, but specifically like the amount of dialogue. Skyrim had 60,000 lines of dialogue recorded. Starfield has 200,000. So like there's a lot of that means there's a lot of NPCs, there's a lot of content, there's a lot of things in there, I think, that are going to make it feel more alive. Could it have the flop like No Man's Sky, where they're like infinite planets and you can go everywhere and do everything? Like No Man's Sky, like I played it when it first came out. It got a little better, but like it's still like they're like all this random generation, all this infinite stuff.
Well, the worst releases of all time.
Yeah, but it was it felt lifeless and empty. It's like you go to this new place, there's new stuff. Like, oh, that's novel. Like that looks cool, but then there's nothing to do, and it's like because it's randomly generated, there's no design to it. It's just kind of like.
Granted, Hello Games didn't have the manpower that, like, obviously.
Right. That's fair.
Right.
That's fair.
Like Bethesda, Fallout 76 was like their first multiplayer like Fallout game, and that like flop. People said it felt empty. There were a lot of issues. Same like it just there wasn't like I don't know. There were quests and there were places, things you could do, but like it just was kind of empty. So this is kind of back to their roots to me. It feels like of like a Skyrim and Fallout, where it is just a single player experience, and with that, like they can invest more time into the world and the area locations and different things. Like this one guy on this video I watched, from I think from the reveal, he was specifically his title at the company is city designer. So he was there specifically just to design on these like larger cities and stuff. So like I'm hopeful. I think, you know, it could bomb. It could be empty. But there's it seems like there's a lot of potential for it.
Right. You're excited for it the same way I am excited for Ashes of Creation.
Yeah.
I am more of like that MMORPG kind of guy. I love World of Warcraft, and I enjoy New World and you know, those sorts of games. You know, BDO. You know, all those sorts of games I really enjoy. And so Ashes of Creation has a same sort of elements where we're promised a lot, and at the same time they're spending a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of resources on it. And so it does give you a little bit more of a promise than these kind of blanket statements. Hey, this is new and novel. Right. The game I was thinking about, by the way, was Atlas. Do you guys remember that game?
Oh, yeah. It was made by people that made Ark, I think.
Yes.
Ark Survival Evolved.
So they were trying to do like a kind of like a pirate MMO, very open world. And it would just,
I never thought that was going to become much.
Okay. So maybe it would, I mean, back in the day, I kind of got caught up in the hype and all those sorts of things. And I got lied to over and over and over, and I kind of become scarred to it a little bit. But and so that's why I'm hesitant when you're talking about Starfield, but totally get the excitement. There's a lot of people that are.
Ralph, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I err on skepticism, I suppose. Healthy skepticism. Really, it's look, we've honestly at this point, it's how many times do we have to get burned before it's like
before something good comes out?
We need to understand that sometimes it can be smoke and mirrors. It can be just not representative. It's so easy to fake these presentations.
Sure.
Granted,
are you talking about Blizzard? The company?
Blizzard is one of them, but you've got Redfall, you've got Fallout 76 from Bethesda, you've got Halo Infinite,
Cyberpunk,
you have Cyberpunk, which I literally just tried to play, and I cannot believe, look, that game's just not for me. I understand there's a lot of people who are like saying it's really good now and everything, but personally, I don't think they quite captured what the Cyberpunk universe has the potential to be. And part of that, which is a positive for Starfield, part of that is the voiced protagonist. I think that's a huge misstep. When you're trying to immerse yourself in a world and you have a voiced protagonist, he's not going to deliver the lines the way I'm imagining them delivered. Like literally in Cyberpunk, there's this moment when I was saying, I don't have time for this conversation right now. And my character, the guy, V, the person you play as, is like, hey man, look, I know we're friends. Look, I'm just in kind of a hurry right now. Can you please, look, I'll get back to you. I love you. Okay. And then they like kiss and everything. It's like, oh my gosh, no, I'm trying to play as a badass, okay? I'm trying to play as someone who has no time for anyone. And the voice protagonist just misses the mark, I think, it can't appease everyone. And Starfield lacks a voice protagonist, which I think is a huge part of what makes some of the most successful Bethesda games actually way more immersive and better.
Yeah.
Particularly Fallout New Vegas. Did a great job at this, all the dialogue options and stuff. You could imagine yourself as so many different types of people. Like people could role play pretty successfully in that game, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm impressed that they showed the amount of gameplay that they did. That's a great sign. That's like,
unless that's all the gameplay they have.
Right.
This is the whole world.
We've seen this issue before where sometimes you've seen literal gameplay and it's actually been smoke and mirrors. One example of that was like Halo 2 when they had like Sergeant Johnson saying, presentation isn't any of that. smoke and mirrors, bull crap. This is real gameplay. Then turns out they had to scrap the entire thing and start over because the Xbox couldn't handle what they were showing.
That's hilarious.
So you never know. And Todd Howard, of course, I love the guy, but he's overpromised and underdelivered in the past. So you never know. My biggest issue, the biggest problem, as far as a warning sign for me, is the 1,000 planet promise. I honestly don't understand why that is a design goal. Do you really think the average gamer is going to go to 1,000 planets? You'll be lucky if the average player goes to like 80 planets.
I'd say even 12 planets would be.
I just don't like, dude. I'll take 10 to 15 well-designed, really intentional, great planets over 1,000 copy-pasted, procedurally generated, empty, bland, nothing planets.
Yeah.
Any day of the week. Come on, why is this even a design goal? I don't.
The developers haven't even been to all 1,000 planets themselves.
Yeah, it's impossible. You can't play test that. You can't. I get it. Like the prospect, the idea that you could go.
It gives it a sense of like vastness. So I think there's going to be some like strategically designed sections and like certain planets with like these cities that are like core to that location. And then I think there'll be a variety of like almost required planets to go to for the experience in the story. But then I think some of the other ones will like gives you option in a sense and gives you a sense of vastness. So it's like, oh, I could go to any of these planets if I really wanted to. And like you can go build a base there and you can like upgrade your ship to have a better hyper drive thing,
or like
to go that far,
or like
or
some planets are super dangerous but you get a better resource, but it's mostly procedurally generated, but you're mostly there to harvest like some kind of valuable resource.
So you could you could figure out like which planet, like, okay, I need these resources. Oh, this planet has like 2 of the ones I want, so let me build some stuff there. And like,
can I throw something in that is
just we're all done now.
It's kind of off topic, but I'm just thinking about it as you guys are discussing. I've actually heard another guy talk about this too on a Twitch stream before. But whatever happens to like lack of like direction in a video game where you can literally just explore whatever you want. You can land on a planet where you have no idea these monsters are 10 levels ahead of you until you attack them and you get killed. And you have, it's like right now I feel like, and I'm loving Diablo right now. I'm loving Diablo 4. Don't get me wrong. I'm loving the fact that there's a storyline. It kind of works me through the world and that's great. But at the same time, it would be so cool for me as a player to be able to go to a planet and not know what to expect. Not have any idea that this is where I'm supposed to go. Let it be. If you want it to be a sandbox, let it be a sandbox. And you're level 10 and you go to a world, you don't even see the level on these monsters until you start attacking them and you realize there's no way in heck you're going to kill them. And so you have to pick up and go somewhere else. Or, I just think the idea of exploration and true, lack of knowledge is something that I've missed in a video game in a long time.
What you're describing, not the genre, but the design language, is like Souls style games.
Yeah.
Elden
which I
Ring.
think is why they're so successful.
Yeah.
I actually do. I think that people want to be, they don't want, like, so here's the issue. I'm loving Diablo, but here's the issue with Diablo is I can go right now. I can say I'm playing a sorcerer. What's the best leveling guide for sorcerer? You go and you look it up and it's right there in front of you. Then you look at in-game content and you can do it. You can still do that with Souls stuff, but it takes longer to get to that point. People are theory crafting a million things. I think that's what makes it so exciting is the ability to really try stuff,
So here, I'm playing 2 games right now. I'm playing Diablo 4 and also Tears of the Kingdom, the newest Zelda game.
Cool.
And they're both very large games, kind of like open world, but there's main quests and different side quests and things. So similar idea. Diablo is very hand-holdy. There might be things that are challenging and like you can die, but in terms of like quests, this person's like, hey, I lost this ring. Meet me in this section and find it. Help me find it. And like you go there, there's like on your map, there's like a blue circle. Then you get there and there's instantly a nav point. You're like, he's right here. Skip all the dialogue. I don't have to listen to this. And then it shows like 3 sections to search. Okay, find a thing. Oh no, I'm getting attacked. Okay, it's like it's everything is mapped out for you, and like almost every quest, there's no like a- actual exploration in that regard.
You're designed to go places.
Yeah, and like everything is kind of like here's exactly where you need to go. There's nothing to
Right,
solve.
right,
There's nothing to figure out.
right.
Whereas like Zelda and Tears of the Kingdom, it's like the other end of the spectrum. It's like in the middle. I'd say Tunic is the other end of the spectrum, where like
Yeah.
Tunic gives you
Doesn't hold your
zero
hand at
instruction.
all.
Yeah, and it's like you're just figuring out. You have to figure out how to equip your weapon. Like no one tells you
Yeah,
how to
dude.
equip your weapon or use
And
it.
how to
Like
level up,
yeah,
how to even speak the language of the
like
game in a sense.
there's
It's like,
literally a different language on all the signposts and different things with random English words like interspersed. So that's kind of like you have. It's this big puzzle you have to solve. Here's the Kingdom's kind of in the middle where it's like, hey, here's a quest. Like there might be like a riddle and there's like some visual clue associated with it. But then you like to find this shrine or whatever it is, like you have to figure it out and like it's like a puzzle to like solve and it's more it feels more rewarding in that regard.
Yeah.
But
dude, you're describing like I'm a World of Warcraft truther. Like so the reason I think World of Warcraft took off when it did was it was because it was in an era where people couldn't really talk to each other online. Like we had what was the Ventrilo or whatever, that people used back in the day to try to talk to each other.
TeamSpeak?
And it was really difficult. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is like no one knew anything about World of Warcraft. No one knew like the random like passives that races have, or like you could level from 1 to 60 and do it 20 times and have a different experience every time and learn something new every time because it's not mapped out for you. And I think in the era we are in now, I think that Souls gets past that pretty well. But I can look up stuff online. Maybe that's just the issue, is everything's just online and so easily accessible. Like probably in
Tunic, I could just look up guides, watch someone do it.
Yeah, exactly.
You can do it.
I was trying to think of the name. You could still, even though you have no idea, you can just look it up still.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
well,
you get
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Final thoughts on this subject.
Okay, if we're doing final thoughts, then I need to get this off my chest.
Okay.
Regarding Starfield, I gotta say, and this might be an area of disagreement amongst us, but we'll see. I don't know.
I'm excited to hear this.
I have no time for the people who are all upset about the 30 frames a second cap thing in Starfield.
Right.
I'm so sick of hearing people complain about that, because all the people who I'm hearing complain about that are actually PC gamers who aren't affected by it whatsoever and who have this like weird elitist PC gamer mindset where they're like, okay, you're going to cap us at 30 frames a second. Don't you understand that I can run Cyberpunk at like 140 frames a second? this machine that I wasted all this money on, don't you know that I can do that? Todd, come on. And it's like, dude, what you're so obsessed with yourself, it's ridiculous. All you're doing is using it as an excuse to like talk about your machine and how like powerful it is. It's so annoying because all that matters is a consistent frame rate. That's all that matters, dude. Some of the best games that have ever been made run at like 30 frames a second, and it's consistent, so no one cared. People have the means to care now, and they're obsessed with the numbers and all that stuff. Dude, Ocarina of Time ran at like 20 frames a second, and no one cared because it was consistent, and that was just the way it was. And I can't deal with these people who just can't wait to talk about their PC setup and
because you're not a PC gamer yet.
Per second they can get out of it. It's so frustrating.
Steven, can I jump in with my final thoughts on top of that?
Yeah.
And then we can let you close this out. But
you got to close this out on the final thing.
As a PC gamer myself, I'll try not to take offense to that. I totally get where you're coming from, and I absolutely feel you. But I'll tell you something, man. Once you build a PC for yourself, you do become elitist. You do become the best. You're the best out there.
We just are better than you.
Don't ever let anyone tell you differently, because it's a whole new world, man. You'll never experience it unless you do it. Look, but in all seriousness, I am excited for games like Starfield because of the same reason I'm excited for games like Ashes of Creation. I'm 32 years old and I still play World of Warcraft because nothing better has come out since like 2008, man. We're all of us gamers out here. We're all working on a board game right now together because we're passionate about it. But Diablo, the idea of that game, yeah, it's a new version of it, but the idea of that game has been out for years.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft has been out for years. MMOs, the genre, has been out for years. Why? My final thoughts are, someone just like how no one's made a Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. You know, we talked about this last time. I think it was on our podcast that got the voice got removed. But I think we discussed it a little bit. Is no one is making quality stuff like this in terms of videos, series, movies, or video games. Nothing quality that anyone has been excited about has come out in like the last 10 years. There have been cool games, but nothing monumental. And so I'm hoping, I am hoping that Starfield takes us to the next level, that Ashes of Creation take us to the next level. So I'll ride the hype, try to get it. Yeah. I need to be hopeful because we need to see something new come out, man, and change the world of the games again. So
all good thoughts. Before we wrap this up, Trevor, do you want to talk about something that we want to do?
Let me hit it. So here's the thing, guys. For those of you listening, those of you watching, by the way, if you are just listening, come check us out on YouTube. You can come see our pretty faces now. But what we're looking to do is add even another avenue that you guys can check us out. So starting next week, we're planning on Wednesday, the evening of Wednesday, the time TBD. It's going to be our first one, so we're honestly not too worried about the timing of this. We're going to stream our first live stream on Twitch for you guys. We are going to be, as of right now, this is tentative, but we're going to be reacting to a video. I'm not going to spoil what it is yet. And
adorable puppies.
The flow of these kind of going forward, what we're looking at doing is once a month. So once every 4 weeks, we'll be looking to do either reacts, or we'll be playing video games or online board games together, like tabletop simulators, or we'll be talking about kind of current events. All the Summer Game Fest stuff has just come through, the Xbox stuff that we're talking about. So kind of you'll get a little bit more of what we just had, the last 20 minutes here, but it'll be solely focused on that. We're not going to really touch on our board game at all. It's going to give us a week to kind of have off on the discussion of that. And then it's also going to give us an opportunity to engage with you guys. We're going to have live chat and that sort of thing. So if you're excited, you're a bit Waffle Gamer fan, come check us out. I'm sure we'll post something online or on Instagram or something about when we go live. We'll try to make it so that most of you can show up, as much as possible. But bear with us because this is going to be the first one. We're obviously going to tweak things and things will look different as we go, but we're excited. We'll be live streaming. You guys can come hang out with us next week.
Wednesday, June 21st, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, where Ralph lives.
Yes. And you can tell me in real time how wrong I am about frames per second.
Please come join us.
Yeah, on your PC. Go ahead and jump in there. Anyway, so that'll be twitch.tv/bitwafflegames. And thanks again for being here, guys. Thanks for letting us cast this pod to your ears. If you want to stay up to date on what we're doing, keep listening and or watching this podcast, as well as go to our Instagram @bitwafflegames to keep seeing some of the art that I've been posting and different things with that. Now that I'm kind of in the swing of things again, feel like I'm making progress, which is good. And then also you can find a link to our Discord at bitwafflegames.com, where you can ask questions, chat with us, whatever. So yeah, thanks again for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. See you guys.
See you guys.
Bye.